Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Data's in Control podcast. My name is Brian Chauvin, and I am the founder of Data's in Control. Today is Family Day. Happy Monday to all of us Canadians. I hope you all are enjoying an amazing day off. Today, I wanted to tell you a story, a lesson that I learned over the weekend. So Saturday morning, my family and I decided to do a little bit of community cleanup. We grabbed a few garbage bags and we walked down to the local park and we started picking up some garbage that was accumulating around the fence of the park. Now, earlier in the week, we had recycle day and it was extremely windy. So we decided to clean up all of the debris that blew around on recycle day. Only took a few minutes and the park looks much better for the cleanup. We then decided to reward our kids with a trip to Tim Hortons for breakfast. So the trip from the park to Tim Hortons is only a few blocks. So we walked down to Tim Hortons and we got in the restaurant. We ordered our breakfast. There was my wife, myself, my 3 kids, and my mother-in-law. We sit down to eat our breakfast and enjoy some conversation. And then it happened. I looked up to hear all of the customers in line, and it was an exceptionally busy day because it was a weekend. The drive-thru was packed. The employees were going crazy. There was a significant line in the restaurant. But what happened was the patrons were saying, "Call 911, call 911." And I looked and I seen a employee behind the counter face down, like she fainted or passed out or something happened. And now these poor 2 teenagers that were working the front counter were stepping over this girl's lifeless body to serve coffee and continue working. Now, as the patrons in line were starting to make some more noise, the manager of the restaurant looked over and seen what was going on and started making her way over slowly, but she made her way over to the aid of the employee. Now, every other employee in the restaurant continued to work. Nobody stopped. They were still stepping over the lifeless body of this employee to serve coffee and donuts. Now, after what seems to be a few seconds, 5 or 10 seconds of the manager being by her side, they woke this girl up and were able to bring her to the back room of the restaurant, out of the way, and the life in the restaurant continued to move on. Now, as I'm sitting there as a patron in the restaurant with my kids, my family, we started to have a discussion with my children. Now, one of my values as a dad, as a member of humanity, as a member of society, is I like to teach my kids. I like to get their perspective on things. What would they have done? Now, I don't begrudge these teenagers for reacting the way that they did, for stepping over this body, because they were probably panicking. They had a full restaurant, they had a full line, they had a whole bunch of people waiting on a busy day, and they had no training. They had no idea what to do. They didn't panic, and they composed themselves fairly well. But I'd like to think that my kids would be different, that they would take the lead in a situation like this. So as a dad, I started realizing, hey, what would I do in this situation? Well, because of my involvement as a hockey coach and as some of my community activities, I'm certified in CPR and I'm certified in a few of these life-saving techniques, and I feel like I could have taken control of a situation, being in the right place at the right time. So I started talking to my kids and gaining their perspective about what they've done, how would they have handled this, and started teaching them and coaching them about this. Because let's face it, as a dad, this is important to me. It's important that I raise kids that are more aware, that are capable of controlling a situation like that. Because as we encounter these situations in life, as we run into these things, these opportunities to coach, opportunities to improve the next generation, I use these opportunities. I talk to my kids about what they would have done to help prepare them so that I can see, oh, this would be a great opportunity, a great area for my kids to have knowledge so that they can stand out, so that they can help society be better, so that they can control these situations. I want to set an example for my children. I want to be the beacon of light that controls and has the confidence and the certainty and the knowledge base to control the situation when, in fact, something happens like that around me. And as my kids get older, as my kids become young men and grown adults, I want them to have the skill set, the knowledge base to say, hey, I'm not quite sure what to do in this situation. Maybe I should invest in some knowledge or training. So I want you to take a look at yourself. I want you to look at your life. Do you know what to do in the event of emergency? How would you handle this? Would you panic? Would you be able to assist? Would you be able to control the crowd? Would you have the confidence, the certainty, the knowledge base to aid somebody that needs your help? Whether it's changing a tire on the side of the road or helping someone that is in a medical emergency. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to pretend to be able to save somebody's life. I don't have that skill set. But I know enough to control a crowd, to help someone that's laying down passed out on the floor, and I know enough to show my kids and teach them what to do. So, look at your life. Consider, what would you do in the event of an emergency like this? How would you handle it? Do your kids know what to do? Could you show them? Maybe you should take a look into this for yourself, for your family, so that when this situation happens, you could be the light, you could be the example, you could be the person that makes a difference in somebody else's life. Because let's face it, we are all members of humanity, and I don't care what you're buying, whether it's a coffee or a car, nothing is more important than a human life. And you should come to the aid of anybody that's in need if you have the skill set to, if you're not going to make things worse. So invest in yourself, invest in the knowledge, invest in the training so that you can do this, so that you can be the example for your kids, so that you can be the example for the community around you and help possibly save a life. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. If you liked what you heard, if you want to learn more about taking back control, becoming a better version of yourself, join us. Join a community of men in the free Facebook group. Head on over to dadisncontrol.com and click the button to join the free Facebook group. The group is filled with men that are willing to give advice, willing to lend a helping hand, that are there not to pass judgment, but to become better versions of themselves as well. So surround yourself with these men and become a better version of you. And last but not least, if you haven't already done this, head on over to iTunes or the podcast app. And please rate and review this podcast. And don't forget to smash the subscribe button. Rating and review the podcast goes a long way for helping us deliver our message to other people that would benefit from hearing it. So thank you in advance. And until next time, we'll see you on the inside of the group.